Welcome to Inside Design with Kandrak and Cole, hosted by two nationally published Atlanta interior designers, Joanne Kandrak and Kelly Cole. These energetic women are also world travelers, charity givers, and bloggers with a wealth of information to share and stories to tell about the interior design world. Okay, now just a warning, this is going to be fun and not too serious. After all, they still do have an interior design business running at full speed.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for joining us. This is episode 52 with Inside Design with Kandrak and Cole. And today we are talking about designing for wellness with our guest, Mitzi Beach. So this morning, we're going to chat with her. She's a designer friend of ours. She's not only an award-winning designer, but she's also an author and a lifestyle specialist. And she has a new book out called S.M.A.R.T.S, Inspiration for Home and Life. And so we're pleased to welcome her to the show and talk to her all about her new book.
So we'll give you a quick little background. Even though Mitzi lives in Ohio now, we literally bump into each other at various events. We always see her in High Point, the Design Influencers Conference, and social media really allows us to keep in touch and support one another. And so we are happy to contribute to Mitzi's first book called Boomer Smarts. She is the queen of that elite club known as 050 or over 50 and how to design accordingly. And this is a really, really important topic. And so even if you're not over 50, you can really benefit from a lot that she has in this book.
She's really taught us so many things about designing expertly and beautifully for the older crowd and small design choices that you would never think of. So if you're, not in the 050 club yet, surely your parents or your grandparents come to visit you, and we're all headed that way anyway. So it's something we all are,
okay.
But maybe our listeners are a little younger. I know we are in the 050 club. Okay, we are. But it's something we have to plan for. So as Mitzi talks about in her book, by the year 2030, over 40% of Americans will have passed the half-century mark. Think about that. Over 40%. Mm-hmm. Oh, my God.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So, hi, Mitzi.
Hi, Mitzi.
Hello, my favorite ladies on podcast anywhere. I'm delighted to be here.
Thanks so much. We're so excited. I can't believe the thought of writing a book is so overwhelming to me.
What made you want to write this second book?
Okay, well, I've been designing homes to be functional and beautiful for over 3 decades. As I'm turning this other life stage corner, now I will hopefully help design lives to be more functional and beautiful.
Well, you talk a lot about wellness, which is a big buzzword right now, but you've been a total living example of wellness and design, especially for the aging population, for a long time. How do you differentiate yourself?
Well, I think I've said this before, and by the way, thank you for that lovely introduction. My gosh, I'm kind of speechless, but I'll get my act together. Well, if I could say the 2 words that describe this book, Design Smarts, is get prepared. And it's just been a passion of mine for as long as I can remember, that nothing happens without doing something. And so as I've been traveling through these life stages, it's been very apparent that even every 5 years, I have to change what I'm doing, how I'm operating, what I'm taking, what I'm, allowing myself to be involved with, because it changes. So I thought, if this is happening to me, certainly it's happening to lots of other people. And so, I really believe that knowledge is power. And by sharing what I've learned with others, hopefully they will have this power to walk through these uncharted territories, not blind like I've done, but having more insight, like I said, knowledge is power, and that gives us confidence. And confidence is the absolute opposite of stress. And stress is a killer. It causes inflammation and all kinds of bad things. So I've been on the other end of that many times, because I'm thinking, what the heck is going on here? And I have to stop and regroup and think, Mitzi, you're not 40. How are you handling this? What are you going to do about it? So
I remember, Mitzi, in your first book that we that you let us read through and do some edits and contribute to Boomer Smarts.
Yes,
and I remember, I never really thought about this aspect of design until meeting you. And in that book, where you talk a lot about the functionality of design, for example, outlets in the wall being higher so you don't have to bend over so far to plug something in, or the hardware on the kitchen cabinets not projecting out so far because a pocket or your clothes can catch on it, which happens in my kitchen all the time and drives me crazy. And for an older person, that could easily cause a fall, or lighting being so important. So just so many things that even forget about it if you're older. Like, why not do that now?
Well, do it now. Plus, you have maybe older people visiting you, your parents. And like Kelly said, it's happening. So we might as well prepare for it if we can.
And so in this book, I feel like you're talking more about kind of the whole wellness aspect of it, more of a psychological approach in addition to the functionality, correct?
Yes, because a lot of times we think of getting our homes ready for what's next. I always say this is not about raised toilet seats and grab bars, not at all. But I think what we have not realized is the loss of potential that our homes can contribute to our wellness. As in, one of my favorite chapters is, does your home have a soul? And it's, where do you get your home hugs? I think we're all in this life on steroids. Maybe not all the time, but a lot of the time. Yeah, and so where does your home give you that hug? Where do you go, okay, I'm in my happy place? And my mantra about 80% of the time is in 20% of our spaces. Well, this has to do directly with wellness, because now we're not counting the bathroom or the bedroom, but it doesn't matter the size of your home. This equation is accurate if you think about it, where you land most of the time. And so to promote wellness, or the opposite, to be a detriment to your wellness, does it have the correct lighting? Are there lots of, dimmers and lamps? Is it comfortable? Does it have the best chair ergonomically for you? Is it the right seat depth, the height of the back of the chair? Do you have a table there for your drinks and your books or your laptop and all of those things? And it should be
Mitzi,
beautiful.
Quite honestly, I don't think people really think about it that way.
I don't think so either.
I mean, you kind of look at the beauty. I like the color of that. I like the style of that. But just like you're saying, the back height, if you're tall, you want to put your head back. It's all really about the comfort and the lighting. Kelly and I are big preachers of good lighting.
Oh, I know.
And as we age, we know that the
stepchild. Yeah, I'm sorry.
So
Joanne,
in your book,
go ahead,
Mitzi, you break it down into segments called S.M.A.R.T.S, which makes sense.
Right.
And so it breaks down spaces, mindsets, attitudes, routines, togetherness, and spiritual. So can you touch base a little bit on each one of those segments as to what you're trying to get at?
Yes, I would be happy to. The reason the acronym of S.M.A.R.T.S is still part of my shtick, so to speak, is because my whole philosophy is that we have to connect the dots, as you've heard me say and you've said, that we can't have this wonderful, healthy life where we're gym rats or something, and then our shower's like a Stephen King novel. It's so scary and unsafe.
You are so right.
And we've all seen them. Either we've lived in them or our clients do. But the point is, okay, so spaces they directly impact our lives. And again, it's not just the physical, it's the emotional. What is it doing to promote our wellness in on so many levels? And what's helping and what is hurting us. And then mindsets are huge. We are learning so much about brain theory. And so we're smashing those old, outdated, untrue, limiting paradigms on aging. For instance, as we age, we lose memory. No, that's not true. Research now tells us that is actually baloney. It has to do with what we're doing with our brains. If we're mindless and we're sitting in front of the TV or, vegging on social media all the time or whatnot, perhaps. But there's the way you ladies are moving and grooving, it ain't going to be, because you're using your brains, you're learning, you're doing new things, you're traveling, you're being with people, you're engaged. And attitudes, I always say, that's a third of the acronym.
Yes.
Attitudes affect aging. They actually affect all of life, right? You ladies know.
Yes.
Where you think your life will follow. It's as simple as that. And then routines, well, don't get me started. Our lifestyles are everything. And it's not about being a size 8, is it? It's about balance and wholeness, and it's the whole enchilada, no pun intended. But the sleep, so many people underestimate the power of sleep, but that's when we regenerate and all kinds of things. And then togetherness, I think, is another aspect of wellness that perhaps needs more attention
or emphasis.
To being involved, especially as people retire or change lifestyles or change locations or become single, widowed or widowers or divorced or whatever. Isolation, again, is a huge part of wellness detriments. And there's like a zillion studies on wellness and isolation. Lots of people that are on antidepressant medications, they're just lonely. And so it's hard to get people out and about, but that's very, very critical for wellness. And also the togetherness is about leaving a legacy, giving back. It's not all about me. This is about, okay, we've lived this life, we know so much, we've experienced so much. How are we going to channel that into helping others? And the last is spiritual, which, and like I say, everyone believes in something. And learning to dig down into what that is, I believe, is helpful. And it can perhaps open one's mindset to other possibilities. So that's what
I love that, because you talk about each of those things in the book. And just so in case people are catching this, it's called Design Smarts. And is it available on Amazon yet?
Yes. And may I say where it is right now, or do you want to wait?
No, you can say where it is.
Well, okay. Design Smarts Home. Design Smarts Inspiration for Home Plus Life is available on Amazon, and we're actually right now doing a limited 99-cent Kindle special for the next few days. And so that's a great deal. But also on my website, mitzibeach.com, there's the opportunity to order a signed book, and it will be mailed to you signed. So those are the 3 options.
Yeah. I also thought, we'll get back to a little bit of this, but just as we're saying this, I also thought what a great gift idea this would be for either an empty nester, somebody who's retiring, because I don't think the average person really thinks about this. And then
no way, Joanne, you're right on.
They don't. The one chapter that I really liked was on the downsizing, and I think a lot of people could learn a lot from that. Talk about that for a little bit.
Okay. Well, downsizing has really nothing to do with space. It has everything to do, again, with our mindsets and the function of our spaces. And I marvel at the number of storage areas around the country popping up everywhere, because
it's pretty gross.
It's such a fallacy, to think you've downsized, but you've got 2 storage units full of whatevers. Well, you know what I mean. And so I think downsizing is something that helps our obviously believe it helps our wellness, even if one is not moving. Overpacked, cluttered closets, jam-packed, so that every morning you look in because this has been me. I mean, I look in my closet and I'm going, no, maybe, that's frustrating, and frustration brings stress. So just downsizing our clothes, downsizing. And actually, it goes to all the aspects, because when I was talking to my editor, she's going, Mitzi, downsizing goes with everything. It goes with what you eat, how many activities, but I'm getting off, but had to put that in.
Well, we were just having a conversation. Here's a perfect example of kind of a downsizing thing. How many times have you been given like a mug as a gift or something, and then you open up your cabinet where your mugs are, and there's like 8 different, ones from, from a coffee shop, a Starbucks one, or whatever.
But you use the same one every morning.
You don't even use them. So it's that kind of visual clutter.
It is, absolutely, Joanne.
It gives me such stress.
One of the things we have to get rid of is get rid of the guilt. A mug might be easy to get rid of, but I hear so many people, but Mitzi, my granddaughter, or my daughter-in-law, which can be real tricky, but it's time to let that go. You can't do life and downsize with all this heavy, I have to keep this. So
I
you are so right. Give it to somebody else to love.
So I love the questions. The one is, do I love it? Will I ever use it? Will I be excited to unpack it?
That's a good one.
And should I forget it?
Yeah.
Right, exactly.
When Mike and I downsized from our Atlanta home to our Kennesaw home to our Woods.com home, it was 5 months while the house was being built that I slowly purged like every closet, every room, oh God, the kitchen was so painful to do, but it was so therapeutic. Oh my gosh, I just felt like I'd lost 20 pounds and I was cleansed. I loved it.
I know.
It took time though, but every day I would do a little space, and then, finally it was over.
Yeah. And, I will say often to myself even, do one thing every day. If you're in that downsizing mode, do a drawer, but do something. I help clients, and you ladies do this all the time, when they're so overwhelmed, they don't know where to even begin. Well, it's that you can't eat the elephant in one bite. And it has to be, like you said, Kelly, a little bit all the time. Or hire somebody. We're not meant to be experts in everything. People hire us for our design knowledge. I'm not above hiring somebody we're in the world right now of hiring experts. We're after experts. Who knew 10 years ago that having a trainer would be common almost, or a life coach, or all these things? So why not hire people to help you get through the downsizing?
I couldn't agree more. Outsource everything but your soul. It's always been my philosophy.
Right, that's very good. I love that.
So in terms of transitioning all of this good, all these good thoughts that you're talking about into design, what would you say are like 5 simple, smart things that designers or homeowners can do to their homes right now to prepare for that over 50 time, or for the over 50 family members or friends that visit their homes now? What are some smart, easy things they could start doing?
All right. Real quick, we're behind. Canada has a lot of visibility homes. We can't do that quickly, but the 3 things are: you make your home visitable, and that means an entrance that's without steps, wider hallways, and a bathroom on the first floor that one can get in and out of. It may not be ADA approved, but wider doors and so forth. So that's more construction, but that's something we should all think about for our futures, because
Absolutely.
Even if somebody's a baby with a stroller, for heaven's sakes, how hard is that to get in and out of what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
So, but for the easy parts, lighting, of course, it's check your lighting. We need 4 times at 50 what we did at 20. And I bet dollars to donuts, most homeowners have not upgraded their lighting to serve that stage of life. And again, I'm really big on clutter. Get rid of the clutter and it will feel better, but it will be safer. And then look at the furniture you're buying or you're feeling like you have to keep for why, who knows. But less is more for sure when it comes to preparing your home for this stage. And that's to have better quality and less of it. And get rid of all the tchotchkes. You know, I call it the little stuff disease. And all those things, you know, I mean, just filling up every space. And my mom and I love my mom. I miss her still for 2 years already. She's not been with us. But anyway, you know, the typical, there was something everywhere. So I would be moving things that were not of any importance, and she would tell my sister, well, as soon as Mitzi leaves, I'm putting that back. She did. But it was okay. It was our thing. But you get my point. That does not help anybody. It's not safe. And speaking of safety, it's the clutter in the kitchen. Oh, my goodness. You know, that's not safe to have too much on your counters and not a place to just sit and have a cup of coffee. I know I'm a broken record, but clutter causes stress. I don't think people realize that there's a visual stress.
Kelly and I had gone into a person's home, and their kitchen, there probably were 60 vitamin bottles all over the counter.
I was so overwhelmed.
There were stacks of magazines. I mean, literally, I was like, I had like heart palpitations. And this is where maybe you get a closet organizer. You may need all those vitamins, but let's find a better way so they're not like in your face. Oh, it was so disturbing.
Oh, yes. Yes, it is disturbing. And again, i.e. stress, i.e. inflammation somewhere in your body. It may be unconscious, but it's there. And space is not benign. You know, we talk about that. Every space gives you a message. So when you're preparing your home, you want to look at every room and say, what's the message here? What is this saying? Is it drawing people in? Do they feel comfortable? Is there a place where we can have a conversation? That's a mental exercise that is very simple to achieve, and it should be in the forefront when any upgrade or any transition is thought about. What do I want my spaces to say, but also what do I want them to do? And so one of the things I was writing, I'm delighted. I was asked to write an article. I don't know when it'll come out, for Women's Health, and it was on this topic of how to make our homes feel beach-like and light and refreshing to our souls. And so this is one of the things I talked about, was what I just talked about. So does that answer the question?
Well, and I always, yes, definitely. And I always tell people, walk into your home, start at the front door, like you're giving a person that's you've never met before, a visitor, a tour of your home, and walk through your entire home and tour it. And you will look at your house with fresh eyes and in many cases be horrified, but it's all healthy, horrifying, because it will, inspire you to make some changes. But I think that, but yeah, like you get used to what you see and the inadequacies of your home, the fact that your sofa stinks and it's so uncomfortable and the lighting's bad. You just get used to it because life is busy and we're all going 1,000 miles an hour, and who can deal with that right now? And then you do that little tour with your imaginary visitor and you think, you know what? Yeah, this isn't bringing me joy. This doesn't have an inviting, happy place feel for me or my visitors or my friends and guests, and I need to do something about it. And so
we spend money on a lot of things, but I think we forget that our home is where we come every day. And if that's, that's where some investment should really be put into it.
That's the bottom line. Absolutely spot on. And again, that investment should be for ourselves. It's not selfish to think of ourselves first in our home, because we cannot give away what we do not have, right? And if we are not restored at our homes, we are compromised in our potential of what we can give away. And it may not be immediate, but time, year after year, month after month of being in a home that doesn't nurture us and help us, it will take its toll. There's
and it is aging, and
to say that.
And like you said, it's. I'm a firm believer that in stress, and it starts in your home and how you live, creates inflammation in your body, which is directly related to disease. It is a medical fact, and I don't think that we can emphasize that enough, and it all starts in your home.
Yeah. I think it's great that you've written this book, because it will open the eyes to some people that I don't think about that kind of stress being in your own home.
You're both spot on. I mean, you could write this book. You're so into what I'm about, and I appreciate and I'm honored that you asked me to be on your program.
We really think this is great, and we really want our listeners to take a look at this and maybe understand that design isn't just about a beautiful space, and it isn't just you have to think about, even if you're in your 30s and building your home that you think is going to be your forever home, design it as if it is your forever home.
Yeah. So the book is Design S.M.A.R.T.S, Inspiration for Home and Life. You can get it on mitzibeach.com or on Amazon. And we are just so thrilled for you, Mitzi, and wish you all the best.
Thank you.
Don't leave us quite yet. We're going to end with an inspirational quote and a funny quote, as we do every podcast.
But let me just tell you, Mitzi has very, very many quotes in her book. So I'll be stealing. We'll be stealing some from your book, Mitzi.
Oh, yeah, because we need them at the end of every podcast. It's like, you got a good one?
Okay, so the inspirational quote. Many people will panic to find a charger before their phone dies, but won't panic to find a plan before their dream dies.
Isn't that so appropriate for our talk today?
Priorities, people. Mm-hmm.
So good. All right, I'm going to leave you all with a chuckle. And remember this, too. I'm too busy working on my own grass to notice if yours is greener. Right?
Yep. I'm too busy looking at your lane because I'm staying in mine.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. It all ties back to what we're talking about today.
It does. So well.
All right, Mitzi. Well, I'm sure we'll bump into you at some conference or some designer event. So thanks for being on the show. We really appreciate it.
My pleasure.
Okay. And thanks for listening, everybody. Thanks. Have a great day.
Thanks, everybody.
Join Joanne and Kelly weekly for a lively conversation about trends, travels to industry events, current design projects, the good, the bad, and the ugly, do's and don'ts, product recommendations, and more. Be sure to follow the fun on Facebook. They're on Instagram at Kandrak-Cole, and of course, you've got to visit them online at kandrak-cole.com for more information.